So in the previous 5 minutes, I was trying to talk, but I just realized I've been using the wrong mic and the sound was terrible. So I'm going to explain again. So basically what I did is I quickly roughly pause the character to have an idea of how I wanted it to be. And I changed the proportion and the pose of the frog to have like a rough idea of where the elements are going to be. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to get back to DAZ 3D because it's much more easy to sketch a pose in DAZ 3D, which is really super convenient because you can distort the characters in any situation. And maybe I'll re-import this mesh afterward and resculpt or reuse parts of this character because it's more important for me to get the pose right and then to sculpt on top of it even without symmetry. Because I'm basically painting with 3D, I'm only concerned in the 2D representation of the scene. I'm not really worried about what happened with symmetry and so on. So I just want to get the shapes and composition right and balance the right amount of details I'm going to do in ZBrush or in Photoshop depending on the efficiency of the process. So the other thing is that doing this very, very early in the process helped me to not get caught into the 3D messing around and only focus on the painting. Because even though I was sure to have a very clear image of what I wanted in my mind, most of the time what exists in my mind and what can actually exist in the physical world, or at least on a 2D canvas that follows the rules of the physical world, are quite different. So I often hear people telling me, okay, I'm super frustrated because I'm sure to have a perfect image of what I want in my mind, but when I try to actually create that on my painting, I can't, and it's frustrating. Yeah, I want to tell you, it's the same for me. I don't think it is actually possible to have a perfect representation of the rules of the physical world in our mind. I believe, I'm not sure from a scientific point of view, so this is only my belief, but I have the intuition that what exists in your mind doesn't really follow the same rules. It doesn't really belong to the same dimension, to the same physical world. So I think it's perfectly possible to have a clear image in our head of something that absolutely can't happen on a 2D canvas. So for me, there is always this back and forth between my initial idea and what I'm building in 2D, 3D, 2D. That helps me to really create the image. So this is why I don't try to solve everything from the beginning. I'm just trying to have an idea, and even the storytelling, the composition, the colors, the actual elements start to come together during the process. So there is like a lot of unexpected things that can happen. This is also why I wanted to record this as real time as possible to share my state of mind. So I was telling you that I was thinking to have like 3 creatures in the background, maybe a frog, a spider, and maybe another one. Right now I'm not sure because I can see that with that current ratio, I really want to have that frog extremely, extremely big, to have like these really big shapes that is going to compensate with the details that are going to be created by the silhouette of this main character, of the prey he's using to attract the fish that is going to go outside of the water. So this is a lot of very detailed information. So I need to have in the background very strong, simple, big shapes to compensate so the image still stay as readable as possible. And also to really focus on the statement I want to tell. So the question is, are these 2 other background creatures really important for the story I want to tell? I'm not sure yet. So right now I'm starting to question my initial idea because maybe it's not going to be possible. So yeah, so I think it's important to always keep an open mind towards the initial idea and really understand that this is the creative process itself, the back and forth between the initial imagination, what actually happened on the canvas, that, at least for me, helped me to create images. So let's jump in DAZ 3D. So this was my initial DAZ 3D just pose where I was trying to figure out the basic pose from the character. So I really like DAZ 3D because it offers like the ability to customize the rough shape. Actually, I don't care about all the surface details of the characters because I'm going to remove them. I don't care about the muscles and so on because I'm going to change a lot of that. But it offers me a basic human shape that can help me to sketch a pose, which is really what I'm looking for. So let me grab the proper tool, which is Active Pose. And now, yeah, I'm going to try just to roughly pose the character. So I want it to be totally unbalanced. So he's going to have I need to look for the word because I'm not sure about it. Sorry about that, but there is sometimes maybe fishing rod. Okay, it's a rod. Okay, so this character is going to he's going to have a rod, and at the bottom of the rod is going to be the child or the doll. As I said, I'm not sure yet if it's going to be a child or a doll. So just want to roughly, so I don't know. And I want him, I was trying to explain that when I realized the mic was fucked up, but I want him to use his umbrella to try to reach behind him and to try to keep a balance on the unstable boat, because basically he's going to pull out the child with his rod super strong and super fast because he don't want the fish to actually be able to eat the prey. So which is not prey. I'm going also to find for the proper word. Bet, I think it's bet. Meals, no, apa. Yeah, okay, it's not proper language. French to English. Apa. Apate. Maybe it's like that. Bait. Yeah, it's like bait. Okay. So, he wants to keep his bait. Maybe it's not because he loves the bait or he have any feeling about the bait. It's because it's like a totally pragmatic thinking, I need my bait to catch another fish. So I don't want that one fish to eat the bait. So he's going to pull out the bait very strong. The fish is going to come out of the water to try to pick the bait. And here the frog is going to use its tongue to grab, to catch the fish. So let's see what I can do with this umbrella. So it is super strange. There's definitely a habit to develop with DAZ 3D where you can basically learn to ignore the the appearance of the character because if you focus on the character itself, it's going to destroy any ability to be creative because it looks like totally terrible. So yeah, I try to really not focus on the actual shape of the character, but really try to keep in mind the storytelling and the pose I want to develop. But it definitely takes some habit because it's like super strange, really strange. Especially when you start to customize the shaping a bit strongly to have an interesting base shape. Yeah, so I guess for the strands he will really need to compress his arm toward his chest. I really want to make feel like he's using a lot of strands. Yeah, maybe it's too much, but it's a basic idea because he will need to have the bottom of the rod that is going to pass just on the side of his hip to block it. Yeah, see, something like that. So now I really need to adjust. Just no, it's maybe not the correct bone. Let's try this one. No, front back. No, twist. Yeah, it's a bit limited. Sometimes the movement you can do with that 3D. So yeah, let's say it's something in that kind of feeling. So I have to adjust the pose of the hand. Left carpal. So yeah, so I'm trying to get the angle right. I also need to twist. No, it's not the correct carpal, the other one. Yeah, so I'm going to remove the limits. Okay, I'm not going to present the overall. That's really is pretty straightforward. Yeah, there is a lot of documentation online, and it's very easy to use. And I think nowadays it's really a shame not to using because it's a really interesting creative tool. I mean, there is like some poses that are very hard to guess in 3D space, and it's very great to feel more like an animator. I am not an animator at all. That's not what I mean. But this is a bit. I feel it's a bit like the work of an animator, where you already have like an existing shape, a 3D animator, and what you try is really to make the character feel right in a given situation. And as I said, there is a lot of challenges. You really need to ignore the absurdity of the shape, of the character shape, because sometimes it's very disturbing. And I think I'm starting to get what I want to get there. Yeah. So as I said, he's going to have his umbrella in this hand, and I really want him to feel like he's pulling super hard on the umbrella to keep the balance. So I'm probably going to do a couple back and forth between ZBrush, Keyshot, and DAZ3D to really try to get the shape right. And once I have the proper pose, I will totally destroy this shape and start to sculpt on it the character. So now I want to have a little more twist. And yeah, sometimes you really get to remove these limits because I'm not looking for anatomical accuracy because I'm going to resculpt everything. So it's not a big issue if the distortion are really crazy, which start to happen right now. I mean, the neck is doesn't make absolutely any sense at all. Yeah, I think it starts to feel a bit like I wanted, but it's not yet there. Maybe I need to pull this on the side, I don't know. Maybe I need to do something about the hips. Let's see. Yeah, I think it will feel better like that. So I'm really looking for this triangular shape when he will have his coat on him. I really want this triangular shape. I really like this triangular shape, which is going to contrast with the ellipse of the umbrella, which is going to be there. And yeah, so it's going to be the rod. It's going to be in this direction, the rod here, and just at the bottom it's going to pull very hard on the rod to get the child out of the mouth of the fish. I want to exaggerate a bit. Filling out the pose. Let's save this. Okay, so I'm going to send this to ZBrush. Send to ZBrush. Okay, so the scene is here. I'm going to append the genesis here. Okay. And it's already in the proper place because I kept my my character mesh in the center. So you see, it's kind of cool because I won't have a lot of work to just roughly place the elements I want. So I'm going to duplicate the umbrella. Okay, I don't care to have like things that doesn't match. It's really about having the rough. I'm even going to remove the coat and anything else right now. I just want to see how the umbrella and the overall shape of the character can work with the frog in the background. So let's see. Okay. going to grasp I'm not using the proper word. I'm going to take a stronger sun and sky. Just to have a rough idea. Remove the matcap texture because it's messing with the actual lighting. When you send a matcap from ZBrush to KeyShot, it records the actual matcap lighting information on a lighting map. So you really want to remove this lighting map because it's going to convey another lighting information. If I'm using a flat materials, which should be perfectly gray, you see that there is already lighting information embed. So you really want to remove this map and make sure to use a diffuse materials. And I always take a 50% gray to make sure I have a proper lighting scale. So I really want this to feel like a super sunny noon day. So right now this angle doesn't really work. So I'm going to put my coordinates at the equator, somehow. I believe it should be something like equator here, yeah. And I'm going to try to have a very high sun in the sky. 12:00, and the date is going to be in June, but yeah, it's high enough in the sky, I think. It's really a high noon. See, there is almost no difference if I'm moving my sun around. So it's a good start, and maybe after that I'll add a slight angle. I don't know. So I'm going to save this one too. Okay. I'm saving like a lot because KeyShot tends to crash once in a while, especially when sending a lot of updates from ZBrush. So I'm just switching to full simulation to really have like some very nice materials and to see how the lighting will work. So maybe I can adapt the angle of the sun afterward. Before messing around too much with the pose, I really want to try to get the overall feeling of the composition. Camera 7. Yeah. I'm going to pull the umbrella, I think, even more towards the back. So it really feels like he's pulling hard on the umbrella to keep his balance. Maybe something like this. I still want the hand to be in silhouette against the background. So now we might have like too much of a tangent. I mean, these two elements close one to another. It creates a detail, so I don't want detail in here. So I'm going to just go back a bit. Yeah, maybe like that, it's better. Okay, maybe I need to turn the characters just a little bit on the side. Just so we can have a better silhouette about his left arm. Okay, it really asks a lot of imagination, and I'm really aware of this. It's not easy right now to really have a good projection of what I'm going for. Sorry about that. But right now I'm really this is like a lot of unconscious things that I'm doing, but I know that I'm unconsciously trying to align this strong straight line here. I'm thinking about the curve that is going to occur because of this line here. So maybe later I'll have like something emphasizing the curve in here. I still don't know what curves the fish is going to have. So I think before even sculpting this character, I really want to have all the elements in place, because it wouldn't make sense to start to add details if I don't have like a good understanding of all the silhouettes of each elements are going to structure the composition. Most of the time when you are working straight from 2D, you start to create the structure, which are the abstract lines that are going to set the borders for the abstract shapes. I mean, like shadow is an abstract shape, light is an abstract shape, and it creates triangles, square, lozenges, curve, and so on. But when using this process, it's very important to very early think about the structure of the composition, because if you start to get caught by the 3D and the details of the 3D and think about all the stuff about texturing, about having these nice realistic details, and you forget about really focusing on the core elements of the image, which are the abstract composition and the shapes, and all these shapes are organized to lead your eyes in a specific way inside the image. It's very difficult to fix later. So this is why I don't want to spend, in fact, I want to spend the least amount of time sculpting, the least amount possible time sculpting right now, because if I start to invest too much time in sculpting, I'm going to get caught into the tunnel effect. Which is when you start to spend so much time on an image that you lose your ability to see the core fundamentals of the image and to perceive what doesn't work. So right now I'm going to go on the internet, grab a fish 3D model, because I don't want to sculpt a fish. And later, when I have everything that works together, I'm going to come back on this base mesh and I'm going to sculpt a fish that works for me for these specific images. But everything I'll grab. I already sculpted some boats in a previous image, so maybe I'm going to grab a boat that I already sculpted. I mean, I really want to think like as much as possible like a film director. I just want to bring all of my elements in the image, try to see how they work with a specific lighting, with a specific composition. And once I have everything in place, and I have the proof that my initial storytelling idea can work in a given setting, then after that I'm really going to concentrate on making all the details and stylizing the shapes and really thinking about the silhouette I want to have and the kind of details I want to sculpt.